Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and hello everybody. So we are going to start our lecture number 23, and that is about planned risk management. We have started this risk management stuff the other day, and we have talked about the basic concepts of risk management. Then we had planned that we are going to have a few sessions on this very particular topic, because risk is the characteristic of the projects which is quite different as far as simple projects or complex projects are concerned. For a complex project, they are more risky at most of the times, and two characteristics which are quite different. One is risk and the other is procurement. So we are having few sessions more on these two topics. Okay, so let's start our lecture with the summary of the previous lecture. And in previous lecture we were talking about the definition of risk. Remember, any uncertain event which may have positive or negative effect on the project objectives. So anything which is very bad or which is very good but is not having any impact on the objectives of the project is not a risk. So you should be very clear of that. So risk only exists in relationship to the objective. And then there are two parts to risk definition, and that is the uncertainty part and the effect on objective part. So one is measured by the probability of that event, the other is measured by the loss or impact or the profit or benefit. So you are dealing with the probability and impact. So risk management is nothing else but to increase the likelihood or probability and or the impact of risk management, and if that is positive risk, okay, so opportunities, that is called. And we want to decrease or eliminate most desired one, the probability and or the impact of negative risk, that is threat, you know. So we are dealing with threats and opportunities in risk management. So this is all about risk management. And importance, we had talked about the importance and application of risk management. Risk management should be applied on every project, whether it is a simple or complex, but the level of effort for both the projects will be different. And importance is, we have mentioned in earlier lecture that 90% of the projects risk management can actually enhance the chances of success of a project by 90%. Now 90% is a figure over there, you know. And then we had talked about different types of risks, okay, individual and overall project risk. So one event that is very much related to only one or like two or three objectives, but that is individual. And one risk which is actually affecting the whole of the project, you know. So that is overall project risk. So then stakeholder attitude towards risk management. Risk management is very much dependent on that attitude. So if you want to evaluate the success or failure of your risk management system, then you should be having this thing with you as well. So what was the stakeholders' attitude towards risk management? So in that environment where you are not able to you know, sell risk management concept, so for that very particular organization or in that environment, risk management would not give you good you know, results, because the stakeholders should be repulsive, responsive, and very much in support if you want to have a good risk management system intact on your project. And then we had talked about the communication part and how does it actually relate to risk management. We need to be very open and honest as far as risk management is concerned. So you cannot hide the things from team members who are ultimately responsible for carrying out risk management responsibilities. So risk management is itself nothing if you are not actually applying that stuff to relevant part of other project management activities like time management, cost management. So risk management is actually helping you have better time management, helping you have better cost management, better quality management, better HR management, communication management, and procurement management stuff, and list goes on. And then we had talked about risk management framework and how do we apply risk management. And then risk levels and thresholds, this was discussed. And then in the last but not the least, we had discussed risk management processes. And there are 6 of them, and that is plan risk management. Second one is identify risk. The third one is perform qualitative risk analysis. And the fourth one is perform quantitative risk analysis. And fifth one is plan risk response. And the last one is control risk. So we are having 6 processes, and we are going to have 6 sessions on that very topic, okay, as far as risk management processes are concerned. So today we are going to talk about plan risk management. Okay, so plan risk management defines the scope and objectives of project risk management process and ensures that the risk process is fully integrated into wider project management. Again, we had discussed this thing. Risk management itself is not at all anything if you are not using that thing in compliance with other project management areas. Like one of the example is risk management gives you a very good understanding of the contingency reserve. Okay, so if you are not using, you are doing that risk management part, and then you are having some calculations available with you, but still you are using same contingency years old concept. Okay, we just want to have 15% contingency irrespective of the number of risk and their probability and impact. We are going to use that same very number. Then see what is the big point having that calculations be done. Okay. Similarly, you can use that risk management concept or Monte Carlo simulations and stuff like that, PER techniques in time management. And if you are not using that thing, so risk management itself does not do any good if you are not considering other parts. But its effectiveness is so much maximized when you are actually considering other parameters and you want to improve other part of project management based on risk management as well. So in that scenario, this helps you. So how much and in which way you are going to influence other risk project management areas, that is actually planned in this very process, and that is called plan risk management. Okay. So then what are the objectives of plan risk management? So if you are having this target and if you are doing that and then that, you are very kind of precise, you can say that your process is very precise, but all the values are within this and this range. Okay. So you are kind of precise, but you are not accurate. Accuracy comes when you are hitting over there. Okay, so this can be achieved. This accuracy can be achieved through this planning. So we are having this quotation with us, and that is failing to plan is planning to fail. The objectives of this very process are to develop the overall risk management strategy for the project, and to decide how the risk management processes will be executed, and to integrate project risk management with all other project management activities. So the last one we have talked about. Remember, I just want to give you one very good list of actions if you are actually trying to make your good project management plan. So the first step is you actually complete how to plan parts of all the management plans, like how to plan schedule, how to plan cost, how to plan quality, how to plan scope, how to plan risk part. All the parts of project management, you complete them. And then you have very good detailed requirements from your statement of work and project charter and stuff like that. And based on that requirements, then you develop your scope statement. And while you are done with your scope statement, you must have your project team available with you. And then you are in need of developing WBS. While WBS is developed, then you proceed to have this WBS divided further into more manageable parts or elements, and that is those are called activities. So you are having activity list. While you are having activity list and attributes, then you should have a very good network diagram to sequence the activities to show the relationship between them. And then you estimate the resources for all the activities, and hence you estimate the time duration and the cost of activities from requirements and from attributes. Then you develop a good schedule per CPM or good schedule, and then you develop budgets, and then you develop quality planning part, okay, and then you plan communication, and while you are done with plan communication, then you fix roles and responsibilities, and hence you will plan communication, okay. By that time you will carry out all the risk processes then, and after that risk processes, you have to go back and have iterations, okay. So you have to go back to time management part, or cost management part, or quality management part, or communication management part, or HR management part. So that you will carry out necessary iterations, and then you will get back to risk. So in this fashion, how you actually have a very good integration of risk management with other activities. So, and then you will decide how and who will do that, and how, like how many meetings you will be carrying, okay, and who will attend the meetings, who will be participating on those meetings, who will be informed, who will actually be giving or facilitating those meetings, and who is the owner of the risk. Everything is discussed in that part. And well, overall risk management planning is, what steps we are going to take, what standard operating procedures we are going to follow, and what are organizational processes assets available with us, which softwares we are going to use for quantification, and what tools we are available for having this risk management, and whether do we have such resources to utilize those tools or not. So these things are actually done in and considered in this plan risk management. So these are a few objectives which are taken care of while we are actually carrying out this very process. Then what will we get out of this risk management process of plan risk management? We get risk management plan, and this is the document which describes how the risk management processes should be carried out and how they fit in with other project management processes. Risk management plan describes the relationship among project risk management, general project management, and the management processes in the rest of the organization. So this is very one document where all the things we do document whatever we were discussing before this very slide. Okay, so everything is actually getting documented over there. So if we are having like risks management processes, so we can use this book to complete our plan. And a very good question. And when should we start risk management? Okay, so in the execution, in the planning, in the initiation. So the answer is as early as we can. So this person over there, you can see, is actually very much ready to run, you know, and having some propelling devices as well with him. So to provide the greatest benefit, initial risk management planning should be carried out early in the overall planning of the project. The risk management may subsequently need to be adopted as the needs of project and its stakeholders become clearer or change. So we have discussed this thing that in the start we are having less information, and hence we are not in better position to tell where we are actually going. But with the passage of time, we learn that, okay, so this was our planning, but now things have a little bit changed. So let's revise the thing. But if you are starting that late, so you are not having this facility available. So if you've started earlier and you have very crude form of risk management plan with you, but then you have this very learning curve concept with you as well. So you can learn from, okay, so this was the first version and this is the last version, and how many modifications you have made. So this will actually help you in projects to come in your organization as well. And also initially, if you are recognizing all the risks, you have plenty of time to recover. So remember EVM session. So that is if you are doing this reactive kind of approach, then your project management will be at stake most of the time. But if you are kind of having this very proactive and preventive kind of mindset, then things can be moving in your way, and you want to, the way you want to have. Okay, so then you know, this plant is over there is actually been nourished by the coins and the money. So is the case with risk management. So that is not a free thing, right? So there is a cost associated with this activity as well. It is quite a similar thing which is been actually done for other parts of project management as well. So the cost of treating the risk themselves should be included appropriately in the project budget, while the risk management plan should describe how this part of the project budget is evaluated, allocated, and managed. So another thing is the cost of managing the risk should be lower than the cost of risk themselves. Okay, so if you are having spent like 1 lakh rupees on the management of one risk, which was, if materialized, could have damaged your project up to 20,000 rupees. What is the big point to manage that risk? Just accept it. I mean, why to spend 80,000 more? So this is a very good concept, and you should be having this money available with you while you are actually doing this budgeting stuff. Okay, so you should have the cost of project management included in your budget, and this cost of project management should also include the cost of risk management. Okay, so that is the concept of this. And this picture over there, you can see so many things just like that. So risk management activities need to be repeated throughout the life cycle of the project. Okay, and the risk management plan should define both the normal frequency for repeating the processes as well as specific or exceptional conditions under which the corresponding actions should be initiated. The corresponding risk management activities should be integrated into the project management plan. So you want to have what normal frequency. Okay. So are you going to identify the risk every day? Or if I'm a project team member and you are project manager, and I have identified one very good risk which is an opportunity, should I just simply run to your office? Is that the culture you are going to develop? Okay, or you are having very planned stuff like if that opportunity is going to materialize after 2 months, okay, so and there is a meeting schedule in next week, so what's the big rush? Okay, but then there should be some workaround as well. I mean, if there is a negative risk that is going to happen the very next day and the meeting is like 15 days after, so there should be again the provision for such a scenario or such a situation. And similarly, frequency does not only is limited to identification of risk, it also is specified for qualitative analysis and for risk audit and for quantitative analysis and for evaluation of risk responses and to have a understanding of how good we are doing with the controlling part. So everything, every frequency should be given, and where should it be decided? In plan risk management, and that is included in risk management plan. And then we have talked about specific or exceptional conditions. If that is 2 months, this bad risk or good risk is happening 2 months afterwards, and you have identified, keep tight on, keep it tight on over there. So bring that thing in the knowledge in very next meeting. So I have been asking this question from participants of so many classes, that what is the most important thing we discuss in the status meetings, and most of the answers I've got were there are time, cost, most of the time cost, and time, yes, people, quality, yes, and procurement, supplier, few issues. So the simple answer should be the risk. Okay, so if you are not discussing the risk over there, then status meetings are quite, they are not those effective. So the most important thing you should consider in status meeting are issues and risks. Okay, so that is the right answer for that activity. So in those meetings you should be discussing again, re-evaluating the frequencies we have specified in planning stage earlier while we were initiating the things, but now things have a bit changed. So should we stick to that thing, or should we revise or amend our ways? So, and how you decide what are the criterion for success as far as risk management is concerned. How do you evaluate whether if your risk management is doing good or not? So there are two categories for success criteria for the management. Those for the success of the project in general, and those for the success of project risk management, namely as follow: project related criterion and process related criteria. When it comes to the project, okay, so your project has been completed within the time, within the budget, up to the satisfaction of the customer, and meeting the requirements, meeting all the standards. Procurements are successfully closed, and financial audit has been done, technical audit has been done, stakeholders are quite comfortable, your project is being used. Now that all are referring to that your risk management was good, but then you have to be very objective, okay? So if you have specified that your project budget will be 90 to 110, and absolute value initially was, while you've developed your first version of budget, was 100 million, and then you had carried out this risk analysis, and the risk analysis has told you that, okay, you're going to complete your project within that 90 to 110 million. And actually you have then demanded 10 million the contingency reserve for the risk, and subsequently you have completed your project in 106 million. Now that is kind of a success you are having, okay? So if you are having that 110 million budget, like 100 initial budget and then 10 million the contingency, and then you are completing your project in 130 million again, you can have this very baseline of 110 with you, okay? So now you can evaluate how good was your risk process as far as this contingency calculation or reserve calculation was concerned, okay? So that is kind of project related criteria. And then process related criteria. So for very single thing, like how good you have and how effectively you had carried out risk management activities, how many meetings you have carried out, what were the efficiencies over there as far as these meetings are concerned. Were you able to identify all risk well before time in those meetings, or you were able to have this very creative environment induced in those meetings to have identified all the possible responses, and what was the effectiveness of all those responses, and were your team member able to carry out a necessary analysis with ease and comfort? All the data was available with them, or all the data was archived after that. So all these things come under this process related criteria. Okay, again, let's explain the project-related and process-related criteria. So to assess the success of project risk management, the stakeholders must agree on acceptable level of results for the project-related criteria. Okay, we were having initial 100 million budget, and risk management said that that would be 90 to 110 million. Okay. So the criteria is set for that. This should not go beyond 115. Now, if you are having within that limit, okay, you are doing good. If you are going beyond like 118 or 120 or 125, now that is bad part. Okay, that bad patch as far as budgeting line is concerned. Okay. So the project-related criterion mean cost, time, scope, quality, stuff like that. In order to ensure consistency and agreement between stakeholders, among stakeholders, the risk management plan should present these objectives with reference to the project definition documents. Okay. and process-related criteria. The measure for success in project risk management depend on a number of factors, such as the inherent level of uncertainty of the project. For example, the project risk management process for a dam construction project needs to address more unforeseen changes than for a project with a more predictable environment like construction of a house. So this is a very good example. And we have talked about what is process-related criteria. And this thing is achieved, that is risk management planning should establish the type and the level of risk detail to be addressed and provide a template of the risk register that will be used to recording risk-related information. So this is one register available with you in which you actually document all the risk-related things like the risk name, what is the root cause of that risk, what is the category of that risk, whether this risk is overall project risk, individual project risk, or that risk is schedule risk, cost risk, quality risk, what type of risk it is, and then what is the probability of that, and what is the impact of that risk, okay, high, medium, low, remember, and what is the monetary value of that event, okay, and then who is owner of that risk, who will actually attend that risk, and when this activity or risk will be prompted, and when we have to take necessary good action. So if that risk properties are available, and then what is the status of that risk, right? Every such thing is written in risk register. And risk-related communication. So these occur at two levels, within the project team and between the project team and other project stakeholders. So if you, how many meetings you have to carry out, and who is going to attend those meetings is actually, and project team is communicating, okay, the risk manager is going to tell the cost manager that these are the latest contingency reserve figures, and on that activities we have to demand the management reserve. So that is the communication between the project team members. And then our project is doing good, but out of nowhere we have come across a very bad risk happening, and we want to inform our sponsor and top management about that. Now you are having communication outside the project team. So the principles for each of these categories of communication are defined in risk management plan. Who is going to talk to whom, what mode you are going to use, and what would be the format of the letters or meetings or whatever. So that is given in risk management plan. So for the team, the plan describes the frequency and the scope of risk management meetings and risk reports, as well as the structure and the content of such meetings and the reports. And for the other stakeholders, the plan sets their expectations as to the structure, content, and frequency of routine documents to be received. So few of your stakeholders would be having this very clear understanding that one memo or one letter is quite enough for 1 month, okay? The other stakeholders, they want to have weekly updates on risk management. So accordingly, you will identify their needs, okay, their expectations, and you will document them, and then you will follow. Then details of the information required by the project team from stakeholders should also be clearly defined. And obviously, you are not going to have all these things in the start, okay? In the start, you may be having only a template with you, but then with the passage of time, you will start filling up those spaces and making up a good document. So by the end of the project, you must be having a very good comprehensive document. So there is a question, what is the big point to have something at the end of the project? Well, that shows how good you have done as far as time management is concerned, cost management is concerned, quality management is concerned, and because of risk management. And then you want to have all this done and archived, and obviously you have spent some of the resources of your organization on development of that book or that document or those pieces of papers and folder or file. That will be used in next project or the projects to come. So that is kind of very good case study then, okay? So while we have seen from where we can get the project documents, so archives of the organization. So hence this document will do a very good thing for this project and projects to come as far as documentation is concerned. Then there is a plan risk management process, what we do need and what we will do with those inputs and what will we get out of this. So this process is about having project scope statement. And what does that mean? What do you mean by project scope statement? So project scope statement includes what is included in your project and what is not included in your project. So that is given over there. So again, there are a few other things which are very much there in scope statement, like constraints and things like that. We are going to talk on that as well. So, but you are in need of a scope statement. And then cost management plan, obviously you are in need of the estimates and the basis of estimates, the assumptions you have made for those estimates. You know, assumptions are so good for the risk identification. You can actually question an assumption and you can come up with very good risk hidden over there. So you can actually unmask such risks. So then you can have better good contingency planning. And schedule management plan, similar to cost management plan, you will have what are the assumptions over there for the estimation of activity duration, what were the assumptions, and if those assumptions are not met, what would have happened then. So this is answered through that, okay. Then communications management plan, the same concept as of cost and schedule management plan. And enterprise environmental factors, you mean your organization, how do they actually act to this risk management thing. And then organizational processes asserts, like what tools you are going to use in your risk management in your organization, and how do you actually exercise all these processes. So that is also very important. And then we apply tools and technique, and tools and technique are planning meetings and analysis, necessary analysis, assumption analysis, checklist analysis, and stuff like that. But meetings are quite good as far as planning is concerned. And then you get risk management plan. Remember, this risk management plan is at a very early stage. You can have this thing, okay, we have done that and we have done that, and now we are having one egg, okay, so and or a baby. So baby has to be grown up, okay, so that it can actually contribute to your project at an adult level, okay. So this is kind of a baby. You want to nourish it, and how do we do that? We are going to talk in upcoming slides and next few sessions. So planning sessions over there, these people are having, you know, list of things like documents and papers, and they are talking and they are having meetings. So these are very much recommended in order to build a common understanding of the project's risk approach between stakeholders and to gain agreement on the techniques to be used for managing risk. So one of the stakeholder actually wants to carry out Monte Carlo simulation, but you being the project manager is of the opinion, well, this is just 10 million project, and you cannot use that Monte Carlo simulation as it will take most of the time of your project management team. So you just want to stick to your qualitative risk analysis, and you do not want to go as far as quantitative risk analysis is concerned. But that would have been discussed somewhere. You would tell this stakeholder, okay, you are dealing with a simple project, so you cannot use the tools of the complex project, and we do not want to have that sophisticated level of outputs with us, because that is quite simple and straightforward project, right? So that meeting, those planning sessions are quite helpful for conveying that message across the board. And who should attend these sessions? Okay, so this is very good slide. Okay, so one guy, so the picture over there shows one is coming from one functional area and the other guy is coming from the second functional area. The lady is coming from this third functional area. So they are having their own concerns, and they are having their own expertise, and they are having their own understanding, and most of the time they are having better understanding than the risk management team, because they are subject area specialists, so they can actually contribute a lot. So if you are having some risk which is related to supplying of material on a site, so the supplier is the guy who can actually teach you what is the process and how can you uncover the hidden risk in that process, and where you want to be more proactive and preventive as far as this process is concerned. So this supplier should have been the part of that meeting for that particular session on supplying risk. Okay, so you can actually eliminate his or her chair while that discussion is done. Okay, but the supplier will be part of, though that is not, this guy is not part of your project team, but still you want to have him around. Okay, so the participants should include, but not limited to, the project manager, selected project team members, and other stakeholders, and members of the broader organization having responsibility for risk, and other subject matter experts or facilitators as needed. But again, this is not the complete list. Okay, and again, you do not want to have this very conference type of meeting, like 80 people are sitting just for the risk management. No, that is a bad thing. Again, you just want to have very specific stakeholders for very specific topic. In that way, you can actually maximize and you can capitalize on your such meetings. Okay. And what do we get out of those planning meetings, sessions? Well, at this point, the initial risk responsibilities, like at the planning stage, okay, methodology, templates, terms, techniques, glossary, definitions, time schedule, cost budget for other project risk management processes should be assigned and accepted as far as these planning sessions are concerned. And what about the templates? What are those templates? So risk management planning should take into account relevant existing available templates for work products, such as risk status reports, risk breakdown structure, or the risk register, and in most of the cases, risk lists available for that very area. A decision should be made as to which templates are relevant to the project, and these should then be adopted and customized and included in the risk management plan. Though there is written some Japanese or Chinese or something like that over there, just ignore that. And put something over there like, hello, how are you doing? I'm fine. So what was I was doing over there? You know, I was simply doing some. I have this template available. I could have written something else, and the reply could have been. So these templates are quite helpful. I didn't need to actually draw all the scenery, all these participants and stuff like that. I just have to complete that. So this is how the templates actually work. And documenting the results of plan risk management process. The results of risk management planning are documented in the risk management plan. And what are the people, and as far as people are concerned, their attitudes, roles and responsibility, communication needs, tools, toolbox, parameters, definitions, constraints. So the result of risk management planning are documenting in the risk management plan. And the plan serves to provide all project stakeholders with a common view of how the risk-related activities of the project will be handled, what has been agreed upon, and a description of stakeholder involvement and responsibilities. Okay, so we were talking about one thing is which is input to this plan risk management is project scope statement. So the project scope statement describes in detail the project's deliverables and the work required to create those deliverables. So requirements are documented in the statement. Okay, so the project scope statement also provides a common understanding of project scope among project stakeholders. The degree and the level of detail to which the project scope statement defines the work that will be performed and the work that is excluded can determine how well the project management team can control the overall project scope. So if somebody has just told you that okay, we are going to construct 5 one-canal houses in Islam, and then we are going to start that, and other guy is there and he is actually telling you that okay, we are going to start 5 houses in Islamabad. One house is having 3 beds and the other one is having 7 beds, another is having 8 beds, and so on and so forth. And similarly, the finishing level will be class A in all the houses, and there is a pool available in house number 1, but then there is no pool available in the remaining houses. See, so this first guy and the second guy. So this guy is very much clear of his scope, so he's narrating it very clearly. So this guy is actually depicting something very subjective. So by analyzing scope statement, you can understand the understanding of the project team of the project deliverables. So if they are having very good and they are depicting very good understanding, the project is kind of very less risky. But then again, if they are very subjective, then you know, then there is a thing. And scope statement includes product scope description, project scope description. So a product scope description progressively elaborates the characteristics of the product, service or result, describes in the project charter and the requirements documentation. So the product scope, like what is the area or what is the size of the bedroom, like 16 foot by 14 feet, or what is the size of drawing room and porch and stuff like that. So, and product acceptance criteria. It defines a process and criteria for accepting completed product, service or result. Okay, so we are going to accept that road if that road has proved to be okay with these few list of tests. So if these tests are getting passed, then we are going to accept that road. Okay, and we will give you this appreciation letter if your response of your community you have just simply attended through your social sector project, if that is 60%, people are satisfied. So these criteria are given in scope statement. So these criteria, the harsher the criterion are, the more risky the projects are. Project deliverables list, and these include both the outputs that comprise the product or service or the result, as well as ancillary results such as project management reports and documentation. The deliverables may be described at summary level in great detail. And project exclusion. So what is included in project? That is project deliverables and ancillary results, and exclusion what is not part of the project. So it generally identifies what is excluded as from the project. It states very clearly that what is out of scope for the project helps to manage, and it helps to manage the stakeholders' expectations. So one of the stakeholder in initial meetings wanted to have that swimming pool on the second floor, but then it was narrated to him that that swimming pool is not possible because the cost does not permit that. Now that swimming pool is not part of the project scope, so that should be documented somewhere. Project constraints, and these are anything which is, these are the things which actually limit the abilities of the project team to properly manage. These limit the options of the project team. So it lists and describes the specific project constraint associated with the project scope that limits the team's options. For example, a predefined budget or any imposed dates or schedule milestones that are issued by the customer or performing organization. When a project is performed under contract, contractual provisions will generally be constraints, okay? And information on constraints may be listed in project scope statement or in a separate log. This is again. And then assumptions. So you are actually basing your this very beautiful palace based on these cards or some grounds. So you want to revisit those assumptions. So these lists project assumptions list and describe the specific project assumptions associated with the project scope and potential impact of those assumptions. If they prove to be false, project teams frequently identify, document, and validate assumptions as part of their planning process. Information on assumptions may be listed in the project scope statement or in a separate log. So what else is included? So that was just one part, scope statement, and similarly we can have the complete description of time management and stuff like that. So what else is included in a risk management plan? So depending upon the size and complexity of the project, some or all of the following elements will be present in a risk management plan. So you will be having an introduction, project description, executive summary, risk management methodology, risk management organization, roles, responsibilities and authority, stakeholder risk tolerance, criteria for success both for the project and for the process, and risk management tools and guidelines for use. If you are using software's proper training, thresholds and corresponding definitions. What you mean by high risk? I mean, that is, for me, that would be high, and for you, so you must have definition of that as well. Templates, templates for identifying risk, templates for doing qualitative analysis, templates for responding risks and controlling risk. Communication plan as for risk activities are concerned, and risk strategy and risk breakdown structure. So as far as introduction is concerned, you want to have what is the purpose of this document, and what is the background of that risk management plan, and what is scope statement, and what is the policy of the organization on risk management, and what would be the approach adopted by the project team. Then executive summary. So you can see very good picture over there. This lady or guy, whatever he or she is holding one ball and taking one piece of it. So that is kind of executive summary. That is pointing on. So you want to have a very good executive summary of your risk management plan. So under this heading, you have to give a summary of your risk management plan, the methodology to identify, analyze, and different roles and responsibilities, etc. are discussed. Then you have to identify the processes you intend to follow for risk management. Project description. Under this heading, you have to explain and narrate your project, engineering project. So this guy is actually narrating you, well, this is engineering project. So he is actually doing this hard hat and ports and drawing or stuff like that. And then you have to narrate your project, the context of the project, and then have to identify the ultimate objective of your project. And then obviously you have to define the methodology you are going to use in your risk management. So in this part, the methodology to be used is explained. All the relevant terms are explained and defined. All the processes are defined and narrated, and all the steps are given with examples. So this would make your project team to understand better the risk management plan you are going to have. Then who is in risk management team? What is the communication channels, and who is reporting to whom, and stuff like that. So in this part, the organization is defined, which is ultimately responsible for the project risk management. Okay, so the risk owners are defined, risk communication and their frequency is given in this part of organization, risk management organization of risk management plan. Roles, responsibilities, and authorities, and you should not be having one team member like that. You should not left anybody, should not leave anybody like that. Okay, so where should I go? So in this part, risk roles are assigned and defined. Then responsibilities of the individuals are defined for risk management. Risk management authorities delegated to different individuals in this part. And some people may have higher tolerances, some may have be lower, so you have to identify. So in this part, risk tolerance of different stakeholders are defined and recorded. And success criteria, we have talked about that. So in this part of risk management plan, criteria for success of risk management is defined at both the levels, project level criteria and process level criteria. And risk management tools and guidelines, in this part, the risk management plan, tools to be used for risk management are defined and explained. Guidelines for the use of these tools are also narrated. In this part of risk management plan, risk thresholds are defined after due analysis. And then is communication plan. In this part of risk management plan, different communication lines are explored, channels are explored with the context of risk management. Then mode and methods of communication are defined at extra. Strategy, risk response planning. In this part of risk management plan, it is defined as what to do if a risk has actually occurred. Then the strategy is invoked in this part of the plan. And in the last but not the least, you are having that WBS type of thing over there, and this is called risk breakdown structure. So in this part of risk management plan, the project risks are grouped together and placed in hierarchical form, and this is just like WBS. So you can group your risk according to the function or according to the root cause and stuff like that. You can have different RPS. So many people, they are using like project management risks, execution risk, planning risk, technical risk, political risk, environmental risk, and stuff like that. So you may have RBS based on that information. Okay, that's it. We have completed this first process, and this is very important part of starting our risk management. And in this lecture, we have discussed about the objectives of plan risk management. What were the objectives? And there are 3 of them we have discussed. And then risk management plan, we have talked about the output of plan risk management is a risk management plan, though it is a baby risk management plan by this point in time. And when to start risk management as early as possible. So usually, in most of the cases, initial level risks are identified while you are developing a project charter. And in great detail, you identify all the knowable risks in planning stage. Then obviously risk management is not free, then you have to identify what is the cost of that risk management exercise. Okay, so there is a different thing like cost of engaging a risk or managing a risk and cost of risk management. So that is about putting some money for the project team's work for risk management. And then we had discussed about plan risk management process. What are the inputs, what are the tools and technique we use, and what we get from that. And we have discussed different inputs in detail. And then we had comprehensively talked about what is included in risk management plan. So the whole concept of this lecture was we want to have a better planning of risk management. So we have identified the tools we are going to use, we have identified who is in the team, and we have identified the roles and responsibilities and communication needs, and we have documented all the stuff. We have provided the templates for the team to make analysis in future, and we have specified the guidelines, tolerances. So this is all done in this very process. So and today's quotation and end note is very famous one, and then that is failing to plan is planning to fail. So we should avoid that failure as far as risk management is concerned. So I say thank you, good luck, and Allah Hafiz.